Welcome back, everybody. Thank you for joining us. I'm Austin Reed, coming to you from our Tower District studios inside the Mike Ridge building. Thank you for joining us. This is Central Valley Talk Live, our Wednesday edition. It is the 3rd of August, and we're going to see temperatures close to 105 today, and that story is going to continue into the weekend. Temperatures maybe around 103. It may drop down just a little bit. So connect with me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at Austin Reed on air. Hey, you know, the November election is, like it or not, it's coming. It's coming fast. We obviously had the primary, and for more insight on kind of where the GOP party is going in California, we have a guest in store for you today. This is Rachel Hamm, and she actually ran for Secretary of State.
Yes.
So, Rachel, welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me, Austin.
All right, so I want to talk a little bit first about the race. Was it fun?
You know, it was mixed, right?
Yeah.
Like, there were parts that I loved, and then there were parts that I hated. I was tired all the time, and, you know, just from traveling so much.
Yeah.
My son traveled with me, and so that was a great experience to have together, to learn so much about our state, learn about our government, really have him be learning about
that's cool.
so many things that it's different when you read about it in a history book versus out on a campaign trail with your mom. So
Right.
it was pretty neat. It was
Yeah.
neat. I liked it.
So, as far as the race goes, you came in 3rd, right?
Yes.
So, tell me, you know, on the day of the election, as you were watching the results coming in, what was the feeling?
Well, okay, so this is a little bit weird, but I'm fairly intuitive.
Mhm.
So right before the election, I knew I was not going to win. So I kind of had this prep feeling of like, okay, I knew how it was going to go. So I was just watching, but because of how much I had looked into our elections, I was very concerned about just getting an honest election. I even felt like maybe my race specifically would be targeted or sabotaged because of very specific things I was saying that I would do. And that was going to jeopardize people who were in power, who had gotten into power by way of the very systems I was saying I was going to change. Does that make sense? So I'm very concerned about our election. So I watched kind of knowing what was going to happen, and also knowing that it's really sad that I didn't get in because there's so much that needs to change, and both of the two candidates that are moving forward are saying there's no problem and they will not be changing anything. So it's concerning.
Yeah, I know that. Excuse me. I know that you were you had some information that you recently got from the GOP party. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. Well, so the California GOP, I'm very concerned that the party has been infiltrated by people who are liberals in sheep's clothing. And, you know, if you think about it, it's really a pretty smart strategy. Like, you know, if we act like we're conservatives, we come in, even, I don't know if you saw that tape that was leaked of the person who was recruiting someone to pretend like they were a Republican to run for office when they really were very liberal. Yeah, it was, it might have been the Daily Wire that put that out. That was Ben Shapiro's organization. So anyway, the strategy was, let's pretend like we're Republicans, run as Republicans so that we can change the party fundamentally from the inside out and really destroy it, or make it where it is no longer the party that most people believe that it is. Totally change it. So I believe that while that tape was just released within the last month or so of someone intending to run for office, I think that exact strategy has already been put into play with the California GOP and maybe even the National Republican Party, because there are really things that just don't add up. Decisions that are being made. You know, again, you can tell what kind of tree a tree is based on what kind of fruit it produces. I can tell you that the California GOP board is producing liberal fruit, which is kind of confusing because we're the party of conservatives, right? And it's especially concerning because as conservatives, I believe that we have a lot of the solutions to the problems that we're facing right now. We're facing a lot of problems in the state.
Yeah.
I mean, California is a disaster. Nationally, we have so many problems, but conservative principles and conservative ideals that we would put into place if we were in office could totally transform and turn those situations around. So I'm very concerned that if we do have infiltrators, we feel fairly strongly that we do, what is our vehicle for change then? If both parties are being run by liberals, right? So I'm very concerned about the situation with our party. And it was interesting, as I campaigned, a lot of Democrats were coming to my events. And they were saying, they'd kind of whisper to us saying, we're Democrats, but we're voting for you because we're concerned that our party is not representing us. So we're in this really interesting situation right now where I think the Democrat Party has really become more like a communist party, socialist party, and they're not. A lot of Democrats are saying this isn't the party we signed up for. I mean, this has gone too far. Yeah. And then the Republican Party, I believe, also has taken a shift to the left that is also not representing the people in the party. We, the people, are not being represented.
I want to talk a little bit about inflation right now. That's obviously a huge. That's the biggest issue. One of the biggest issues we're facing. How would you fix it?
Well, that's interesting. Well, I mean, we've got to stop printing money and giving it away. That's for dang sure. I certainly understand why we did some of the COVID bailouts, but that also produces inflation. I mean, there's just, again, those conservative values and principles that if we were in office, it would be different. We can't give away money, and we've got to stop entitlements. We've got to retract them significantly, give people incentives to work. Raising interest rates is an important piece, but also supply chain. I mean, the prices are up because, I mean, there's a lot of reasons, but one of the reasons is the supplies are being blocked. I mean, we know down in Los Angeles, on the Long Beach Harbor, there are all ships that are stuck at sea, not being allowed to dock. There are union workers that are saying that they are actually being paid to not unload ships. Why? There's something intentional going on. I feel like I sound like such a conspiracy theorist. That's what's happening. I mean, it's just like on the ground, live information from union workers that are like, well, we're being paid more to not unload, so why would we unload? So there's something intentional, with the supply chain that, of course, raises prices. So I think just stop doing that. Right. That's what we would do. We just stop doing that. We would also. Have to punish people who are doing that, right? Who is doing that? Why are workers being paid more to block supply? So I think that's something that needs to be investigated and punished. There's a lot of crimes right now that are going unpunished, and it feels like we're in a lawless time. And I think if we bring law and order back and common sense principles, conservative fiscal policies that naturally do bring these things back into order, we can change it, but we've got our work cut out for us.
So I do have to ask, what's next for you?
Well, before I was running, I was doing a talk show on YouTube.
Oh, okay, nice.
Yeah, and I loved that. And so with campaigning, I didn't really have much time to do many shows. So that was just on hold. And now that I'm not campaigning, I want to go back and do even more and do it even better and really just raise the level of that, because I feel like we have to win the information war. Yeah. Right? Like that's what we do when we have talk shows. We can get information out, we can talk through ideas, and I want to help us win the information war.
And now you have the experience of this last election. Yes. It was fun though. I mean, there were times I'm sure that you were like, but So.
But it was fun, and it was fun to feel like I was doing something that mattered.
Yes, and
trying to make it better.
Right, exactly. Because so many of us complain and we don't do anything.
Yeah, what's up with that? Come on, everybody, do their part.
People can learn more. They can follow you and subscribe on your YouTube, right?
Yeah, I have a YouTube and Rumble because YouTube is being kind of, they're censoring.
They're doing the censorship.
Yeah, so I'm against the forced shot, which caused me to get my show. Got like a penalty or whatever. Yeah. Okay. So I have Rumble and YouTube, The Rachel Hamm Show, and then rachelhamm.com is my website. So.
All right, very good. Rachel, thank you for joining us today. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Austin.
We'll see you next time.
Glad to be here.
All right, I'm Austin Reed. You're watching Central Valley Talk. We'll be right back, everybody.